Hello and welcome to Hex Therapy Live. I'm your host, ALLin. Tonight we're going to be talking about Ethereum EIP 1559, or as I like to call it, RIP 1559, because it's basically dead on arrival. It's been poorly designed, it has bugs, and it's going to get beat out by PulseChain that will be launching within the next month. So I'm going to get into all that Ethereum news, also talk about sudden wealth syndrome, the over 200 people in Hex who responded to our YouTube survey here on the channel that said that Hex has made them millionaires. So welcome to all who would like to be millionaires in the future and people who have already achieved the dream with Hex. Hex pays a high interest. It's a blockchain CD, and the founder has been tearing it up in interviews lately. I'm so excited to cover all these topics and more this week in Hex Therapy Live. Thank you for tuning in, and let's get started. So first of all, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe buttons. And I want to shout out to everybody who's following the channel. We've been growing so much lately with myself and the Quant Gang, Whales Only, and Kareem, Future Us. The Quant Gang last night, or I guess it was 2 nights ago, got over 6,000 views on YouTube alone already, not counting the hundreds of views that it's gotten on Periscope, which is part of Twitter, as well as maybe a couple on Twitch. The point is, Hex and Pulse are exploding in their communities, and we know why. It's because Hex is the only finished product in crypto, and even Bitcoin and Ethereum are promise coins, and they're proving to be just that. So we got a lot to cover tonight, but I definitely want to highlight the growth in the community. I mean, this is more than the number of people who watched the first day of the Hex conference, the first Hex conference, which was January 6th through 9th of 2021. And so that's really exciting growth. Of course, the fourth day when we had Richard on got over 10,000 views, but we're seeing incredible growth right now, and not to mention there were $14 to $15 billion sacrificed, and there are specific episodes here on this channel that have covered the suspected origin address and how it put about $13 to $14 billion into the sacrifice on the 19th or 20th day, the last day. Now, I also want to shout out to all the other Hex streamers out there. Abit and Patrick have announced that they're launching their tour around the United States, and so that's going to be one giant Hex meetup. They're coming to a city near you very soon, and so go ahead and follow Crypto Sparbuck on YouTube and catch their episode that they released today. Johnny Chaos went live earlier today. So did Conrad Zen. Dollar Cost Crypto has been crushing it. Whales Only, of course, has been streaming just about every day on every channel. And we really love the quality charts and quantitative analysis that he brings to things. We have Hex Tangent, my new favorite Australian show, and I saw Bitfinesse and others on there earlier this week, so that was really cool. Crypto Coffee did a stream from the Chicago Lake, and that was really cool. Of course, Richard has been going live multiple times a week on different interviews. Personally, I think his 2-part Kitco interview was maybe one of his best of all time. And part of the reason for that, I think, is because he did a really good job of answering questions about where the interest comes from in Hex. And that's the part that's so unbelievable, right? But it's also the part that we know, we can predict how it's going to operate better than we can predict the USD price, because the USD price is not guaranteed. It's not part of the smart contract. It is part of the automated market maker, right? But it's determined by a free market, something that really doesn't exist a whole lot, except in real crypto, which Hex is pioneering. People always point to the invention of Bitcoin and the invention of Hex as major inventions. I think the invention of the automated market maker and Uniswap, the decentralized exchange, I think that is an equal or at least top 3, right? And all those are working together. Bitcoin helped create like a proof of concept for Hex, right? And Bitcoin did a 6 million X return in 11 years. Hex is well on its way to repeating those same patterns, is designed better, right? And has better game theory. I think that my psychology background and my crypto background really helped me predict some of the game theory that we're starting to see. And you'll hear parts of game theory and major events in Hex that I'll admit I did not predict, like the origin address staking for big payday. That was a surprise to much of the community. I think a couple streamers maybe predicted it, but the majority of people said, oh no, that's not going to happen, because we didn't really understand really the game theory behind why the origin address would protect the long-term holders, right? And reward the right type of behavior. Hey, how's it going, Wells Only? Good to see you. And good to see everybody else in the chat. Brissology said, original architect. That's right. That's a new name that we're giving to the origin address, because as Future Us pointed out, origin address is kind of an old thing. We know that the funds from the origin address have been moving around in a way now that is supporting Pulse, has never sold Hex. I mean, there are so many amazing parts of the game theory, right? But I think the audience here might be interested to know, because this is a psychology and therapy show, might be interested to know what's really going to happen next with Pulse, right? And so what I predict is that Richard is going to teach the world what Hart's Law really means. And Hart's Law is showing what liquidity really does to price performance in a free market. And those are things that haven't all gone together before ever in history, where there was a billionaire who was being altruistic, right? You have an altruistic billionaire. You have a decentralized cryptocurrency, Pulse, that is being airdropped without tax implications, legally is not a security. And then you've got these decentralized automated market makers. These are exchanges that allow people to trade directly with each other, but it's the liquidity that bonds the different liquidity pairs that determines the price performance of a coin. And so when Richard gives the example of Unisocks, that is really telling of how he discovered Hart's Law. And so again, having those liquidity pairs bonded with each other, I think as a community we'll get better and better at explaining this. But my intuition and my own understanding of game theory makes me really excited about this aspect of Pulse. It's not just that Pulse is going to be given to all ERC20 token holders. Like, that would be cool enough. That would incentivize people to use the network that's going to be superior, because it doesn't take burning all the electricity in the world in order to stop double spends. It simply takes the right game mechanics, such as having validators who are such large stakeholders in the Pulse network that they would have something to lose if the system fell apart because it wasn't being validated properly, because there were double spends. And so all they're going to do is manage that Excel spreadsheet really well by running data centers and by getting fined major amounts if they get anything wrong. I mean, think about the social suicide that would occur if you backed somebody with your validator, with your staking on Pulse, and then they let you down by, as Richard puts it, having a cosmic ray come and flip a bit in their server, or if they just don't have a secure server, right? So decentralized security is much simpler than Bitcoin makes it. And in fact, I would argue that the Bitcoin and Ethereum networks have been crippled by the very thing that they claim is their security. It's not just security theater, it's a security racket, because the miners become a corrupt entity that has bought in through their electricity bill and then is incentivized to keep burning electricity in a harmful way. And that is what they're using to be trusted to stop double spends, instead of having a simpler method, such as is being implemented with Pulse. And so that's why I'm so excited, because I've been in the Pulse design, the game theory design chat that Richard opened up with about 70 people who are the most knowledgeable about game theory and about the different things that already work in crypto. So being able to combine all the things that works, and Richard being unlike other millionaires and billionaires that would be incentivized to rug pull, this is the perfect combination. And so we're going to see that, and it's going to be not only educating us, but it's going to be educating the greater financial space. Because I predict Pulse is going to extract a lot of value out of the Ethereum network because of the liquidity pairs that are created. When you take a copy of everything on Ethereum and you give it to people on Pulse, and then you have limited bridging, what you're doing is you're allowing people to not only discover the better network that's going to be faster and cheaper and more deflationary, right? But it's also going to, again, really show people what liquidity pairs do and how a faster network can extract value through liquidity pairing, through bonding. Richard hasn't finished explaining his master plan, but he likes to speak in code, and he's giving really exciting clues. And so I would encourage people to go back and listen very carefully to his Ivan on Tech interview, to his Kitco interview. These, I think, are going to help people to understand and to read those codes. It wasn't until after the end of day 5 where all the time bonuses were available in Pulse that Richard admitted that he started to reveal part of his master plan for Pulse. But it's only part of his master plan. So, needless to say, we have a lot to look forward to. And that brings us really to another topic, right? Of wanting to take care of yourself. Because if you have a lot of good things coming to you, it would make sense to to be in good mental health and physical health for when that happens. And, just to wrap up the last topic, I think, EIP 1559 or RIP 1559, whichever you want to call it, the reason why we know that it's dead on arrival, and the reason that we know I'm calling it basically, if it's not a sell the news event, it might be a hack the news event, right? Because the Ethereum Foundation has been pretty clear that they were launching it even though they knew it had bugs in it. That they were launching it even though it wasn't ready. Even though they've already lost $200 million because somebody lost some keys, right? And they were testing out the staking that way. Because they've incentivized people to pool their money together, which goes against, by giving up their keys, which goes against the whole idea of crypto, which is to remove middlemen, right? So Ethereum 2.0, it incentivizes people to utilize middlemen to get pitiful interest, right? Whereas Hex and Pulse are going to stick to the idea that you can keep your keys and still incentivize good behavior, right? Because this is programmable money. It's not that hard, right? And that's sometimes where I start to hear whales only, and I thinking the same thoughts. It's come on, people, it's not that hard. All you have to do is use what works, right? But for some reason, the Ethereum Foundation, they can't figure it out. And if you go on YouTube and you watch their live streams, they have 20 or 30 devs on there, and they're not talking about anything. They're not getting anything done. They have hour-long meetings once a month publicly to show you how little they're getting done. What other proof of failure do you need, right? But something we really know, right, is that even duct-taped shit on the blockchain, it can still go up in value, right? And that's because it is becoming more and more of a manipulated market. Just like the legacy system that it's claiming to replace. But that's what we see in this big experiment, right? Is that a lot of times people go in with good intentions and they accidentally create the old system into the new system of blockchain. And at the end of the day, the question comes down to who are your whales and who's keeping them in line, right? Because these founders aren't keeping their whales in line, right? I'm talking about whales as big investors, the billionaires, and 100 millionaires that have bought in and gotten rich off crypto. People always try to start their own businesses, right? Instead of making the crypto good enough, right? Or having it already good enough before it launches, right? It always comes back to promises, because promises are easier to make than good software. Promises are easier to make than good game theory, right? And so when we look at the incentives, it really takes the perfect storm of Richard Hart and a community of stakers who are becoming millionaires, right? Because of putting $500 into something. If you put $500 into Hex in the beginning, you could be a millionaire now. Ethereum, in the same 1.5 years, you'd have to put $50,000 in to be a millionaire now. That's life-changing wealth, right? And that is incentivizing the right behavior of people delaying gratification, right? Bitcoin and Ethereum don't do that. When they go up so much, they aren't incentivizing people to time lock. And so you're going to get a different crowd of people. And Bitcoin and Ethereum, when they make you rich, they're going to make you, they're not going to give you the same financial and community environment as you're going to get within a community that is collectively being incentivized to delay gratification. As Richard says, many, if not all, of the healthy behaviors that people seek in their lives is all revolves around delaying gratification. And as somebody who is now a retired therapist, and I bought my freedom, so I get to spend my time helping others, upping my game on this YouTube channel, and trying to spread different ideas that I think really can help people with their mental and physical health. That's really exciting to me. For example, and I don't mind beating a dead horse and bringing this up time and time again because it's such a life changer to take omega-369. Taking 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of omega-3, aka fish oil, per day, that's something that changed my life, and my life was already pretty good, right? And those of you who have already heard it and acted on this information to take omega-3 because it enhances your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain behind your forehead and your temple, and it controls all of your human behaviors that animals don't have, such as problem solving, healthy relationships, critical thinking, right? Delaying gratification, inhibiting impulsive behavior, right? Regulating anger, staying engaged in your environment, new learning, self-esteem, like all these things that we teach in therapy, it all comes down, those are prefrontal cortex behaviors that come from that part of the brain. And I used to work in a neuroscience laboratory and specialize in high-density EEG, which is reading brainwaves. And so I did that for 7 years, and then I was a therapist for 7 years. And so I can tell you the connection between all those things is the healthier your brain is, the easier it is. So the better your meat hardware is, the better software can run on top, right? So you can change your thoughts and behavior whenever you have the right physical conditions, whenever you have a prefrontal cortex that is electrically insulated, right? And so the omega-3 is the material that your brain needs in order to create that electrical insulation, which is in the brain, it's called myelin. Your myelin sheath is the electrical insulation that wraps around the axon, which is the electrical wire that goes between the neurons in your brain. And then there's this really helpful immune type cell, and it's actually a neuroglial cell, neuroglia or glial, either way, called the ogliodendrocyte. And the ogliodendrocyte is the worker brain cell that installs the electrical insulation around your axons, the wires in your brain. And sure enough, if you're getting enough omega-3 in your diet, then it's going to allow you to think more clearly. It's going to allow you to be more intentional, to delay gratification. It's going to make it easier for you to learn the behaviors that you need in order to become the best version of yourself possible. And I've not only seen this in my own behavior, but I've seen it in countless cases that I've worked with in mental health and substance abuse and everybody else, right? And so those of you who have heard me say this, you probably, if you've acted on it, it's already helped you in significant ways, I hope. That's the feedback I get much of the time. If not, then go ahead and keep considering this, because you can find omega-3 at most grocery stores, at Walmart. It's $5 a month. So somebody's asking in the comments about MS, multiple sclerosis, which is a condition that affects the myelin sheath, which is the electrical insulation that I was talking about. Unfortunately, taking omega-3 does not cure MS, because MS is caused by the immune system attacking the myelin on the wires that go from your brain to your muscles. So you have axons that go from your brain all the way to your toes to move all your muscles in your body. And if your immune system keeps attacking that, it's not going to matter if you have enough of the material. It's an alternate problem. But I can tell you that no matter who you are, your brain still needs enough myelin. So it could help somebody not with their MS, but even if they have MS, it could help with their brain functioning and mental clarity. So hopefully that's helpful and helps people understand really what you're missing out on if your brain isn't carrying the electrical signals that it's supposed to. Just like in MS, when you don't have enough electrical insulation, you eventually become paralyzed. Your prefrontal cortex isn't able to operate when you don't have sufficient electrical insulation. So it's just like your cell phone charger, right? The cord, it's wrapped in rubber so that the electricity doesn't leak out, and so that the electrons get where they're going. So good. Yeah, so that's one way that I really want to help people, is by getting the message out about omega-3, because whether you just care about pumping your own bag in Hex, like if everybody else in Hex is taking omega-3 and they're thinking more clearly, then they're going to be able to delay gratification better, right? And then there's going to be so many other health behaviors that can be learned and can be more effectively loaded on top of that. So I hope that's helpful. Let's see. What other questions do people have? Go ahead and smash the likes and subscribe. I really appreciate everybody who's watching. Over 150 people are watching live, thousands in the replay. It's really exciting to me, because this is why I'm here in crypto, is to help program mental health into money. Because I think that there has been so much corruption in legacy finance and in crypto itself. People could almost lose faith, right? And they could miss the opportunity to program mental health into money, because everybody needs money and everybody needs mental health. And so it's going to be, I believe, the people in the Hex community who are going to have the resources and the aligned values and incentives to really make the world a better place and to get this network effect going. The amount of engagement in the Hex community is off the charts, right? And so at the end of the day, when blockchains are socially enforced networks, having a social network that gets healthier and healthier with their mental and their physical health, that's going to make a big difference. So I'd encourage everybody to share the message of Hex and to share the message of mental health, whether it's at the same time or you're choosing one or the other to start people off with. This it's something that really, it's the gift that keeps giving when people are able to mint their own mental health, because they're paying their future selves with Hex by time locking, and they're a part of a community that's echoing these really positive behaviors, right? And I will go over topics that I've gone over before, because when I first started this channel, I talked about a lot of different strategies for people to identify, like, what are the breakthroughs in medical science right now that can help you live a better life. One example I can give is the Philips Deep Sleep Headband. So this is a headband you put around your forehead when you sleep, and it has a little gel electrode that connects behind your ear, and then it has a dry electrode that connects onto your forehead. And what it does is it measures your brainwaves while you're sleeping, just enough so that it can tell what stage of sleep you're in. And then it has these really comfortable kind of like headphones built in that are like gel headphones. And what it does is it runs a little bit of noise that you can't even hear when you're asleep. It runs a little bit of noise through your ears when you're in the right place to get deep sleep. What deep sleep is, it's a state where the brain is having really low amplitude, slow waves, right? And that's really important because part of the purpose of sleep is not only for brain cells to be able to regenerate themselves and to do some house cleaning, but also for signals to pass all the way from the prefrontal cortex to the hippocampus where memories are stored. And so for me, when I use my Philips Deep Sleep headband, I mean, these things are, it's about $400 to buy one. You buy them order them from Walgreens or from Philips, from Best Buy. And, but I mean, this is one of the things where I notice the difference. And my sleep efficiency is so much higher that I can sleep about 6 hours and feel better than if I slept 8 or 10 hours. So how many hours, how many months or years of my life am I getting back? And I'm going to be living longer and having a longer health span and having a higher quality of life every day, you know, that I'm using this technology, which is really all it's doing is figuring out, okay, this is something that works. Like, this is a hack for having better sleep. And sleep, you know, whether you know it or not, sleep is not just important for your physical health, but it's a big player in your mental health. People who have sleep problems have mood problems, including depression and anxiety. They have pathological restlessness. They can have insomnia, which is kind of backwards because it's like, well, you know, if you're not getting good sleep, why wouldn't you just sleep better when you do? But it doesn't work like that. You're more likely to use too much caffeine. You're more likely to have a worse attention span. When you don't sleep as well, your memory goes down, your attention goes down, your ability to regulate your mood, your ability to problem solve, to think clearly, to make good choices, your ability to not sell the dip, right, and buy the tip. These are all things that require you to be in as good of a mental state as possible. For me, until I started sleeping better, it was very hard for me to exercise. But then, once I started sleeping better, all of a sudden I had the energy I needed to exercise, which caused me to feel better about myself, get in better shape, also sleep deeper and better. And so it created like a positive spin on all my behaviors instead of a spiral. So I can't recommend enough, especially for people. For me, Alzheimer's runs in my family. The deep sleep stimulation that comes from the Philips Deep Sleep headband is something that can basically prevent Alzheimer's because, again, in order for the signals to get from your short-term memory, which is in your prefrontal cortex, to your hippocampus, which is basically like a whole on the other side of the world in terms of your brain circuits, right? It's a really far distance from one side of your skull to the other when we're talking about individual cells that are creating electrical charges. But sure enough, the way that I explain it to people is that whenever you hear a car with a really good sound system in it, from far away, if it's like going through your neighborhood, and it's like what you'll hear is only the bass, because the bass is the slow wave activity that can go through objects, walls, because all a wall is a dense area of matter. And so when you have a slow wave, it can go through the atoms, I guess, in the wall, and that's why you're getting those vibrations. Whereas all of the higher frequency noise gets filtered out because it bounces off of that wall. And so just like that, so low frequencies, they can travel farther distances and they can go through walls, just like your memories that are being held in your short-term memory, they can get transferred all the way to your long-term memory because you don't have the high frequency light sleep that's happening, or like when you're awake and relaxed, like there's too much high frequency stuff going on for those long distance messages to go back and forth. And sure enough, your hippocampus has to communicate to your prefrontal cortex to reorganize the memories that you already have. So when you see somebody develop Alzheimer's, they're losing their memory slowly over 7 years because the oldest cell in your brain is 7 years old. How can you have memories older than 7 years? Well, those memories, they have to be recycled whenever you're sleeping. And the way that your brain does that is by beaming them to the prefrontal cortex, reorganizing them, and then beaming them back to the hippocampus, the ones that you're going to hold on to, those memories. And so that's why sometimes people have certain dreams. They wake up and there's all these random pieces of memories that are being recycled and restored. They're being beamed to younger cells in the long-term memory. And so the best way to facilitate that memory preservation is by having those slow sound waves at just the right times to the electrical signals in your brain can ride on top of those frequencies because it's electricity. In the end, it's all electricity. And so the electrical current can flow better when you have those slow sound waves. And so it makes perfect sense from a psychophysiological perspective. And sure enough, I mean, you don't need a fancy degree or expert knowledge in electricity or neuroscience in order to realize you put this headband on and you wake up the next day, you feel great. I mean, you wake up, like I could always tell whether I pressed the button on the front of it or not to turn it on immediately when I woke up because I could immediately sense whether I slept better or not. So there's a lot of things that people do for their physical and mental health, and it's not clear whether that made a difference for them. It's not a noticeable change, right? Because people have good days and bad days all the time. So when you find these interventions that have a noticeable effect and then there's no question, that to me is super powerful. It's way more powerful than just anecdotal evidence, right? When there's clear physiological rationale, when everything lines up, when the science lines up, when the theory lines up, and when the practice and the experience lines up, and then everybody's having the same experience of omega-3 and the Philips Deep Sleep headband, causing them to be in better control of their own behavior and behavior change, right? Like as an advanced therapist, I wasn't just interested in giving people tools that they could use. I wanted them to be able to create their own tools. And that's what I ended up finding was there were a lot of clients, if they followed all of the advice that made sense for them, they would end up becoming so advanced. I would learn a bunch of stuff I didn't know from them. And then they would graduate and go about their lives. But it's really exciting. Again, for me, I like to practice what I preach as a therapist. And I didn't figure out how to do that until I was a therapist for quite some time, probably 2 or 3 years. And then finally I realized, whoa, I'm really changing people's lives. I want some of that action too. And so I started working on my own behavior change. And I changed behavior specifically that I never thought would be possible to change. So like exercise and like running long distances in particular was something that I always prided myself, oh, I would never do that. Like, I'll play basketball, like, I'll run from a saber-toothed tiger if it's chasing me, but like, I'm not going to just go run for my health. But I chose that once I realized behavior change is such a powerful thing, and that there were principles, there were first principles, and there were certain psychological techniques and dynamics that would be so successful that I saw working in other people's lives. That's when I realized, oh, okay. So like, behavior change is a thing, and then you start to get this positive feedback loop with yourself. When you're feeling good about yourself and you realize that it's possible to change behaviors. Now, I go running every chance I get. I love running 4 miles, like 4 times a week. And I do that because it's really good for my health, but also because I was able to hack my own behavior. And the same thing with math. I thought I hated math, and then I learned more deeply about elliptical curve cryptography, which is part of Bitcoin and every other encryption and security system known to man. Like the nuclear codes and the FBI and CIA stuff, like that's all protected by advanced encryption, which is made possible by elliptical curve cryptography, which is like uses advanced like geometry and stuff. So there are so many cool things that you can learn about yourself when you're in the right place to work on yourself. And it wasn't until I figured out these first 2 things that I was able to unlock all these other behavior change principles. And this omega-3 and the Phillips Deep Sleep Headband. So I'm glad that everybody's tuning in to find out more about all this, because you don't want to be dead like Ethereum 2.0, right? You don't want to talk for 4 years about doing something and then not be able to do it. And it makes me so happy to be able to reach a larger audience now of the right kind of people who will benefit from and be interested already in delaying gratification, self-health. Somebody's asking, like, where's Richard Hart? Well, he just did an interview 2 or 3 days ago with Kickcode News, which is one of my favorite interviews of his of all time. So go ahead and check that out. He's also been tweeting a lot, so I'm not sure where you're where you're not seeing him. So I'm glad that people are checking out Omega 369 and wanting to improve themselves, because I think we have a lot to live for. And this whole longevity research thing with the Sense Foundation, it seems like everything is aligning, and so it's really exciting. Hex is pretty viral. I think we're getting to the point. I think we're getting very close to the point where Richard isn't slowing down. He's not getting worse. He keeps getting better and better. Now he's talking about hiring 130 people. Right now, he's only hired like 6 people. 9. So he's got 5 developers who are making PulseChain. Then they're going to switch to making a MetaMask replacement, a Uniswap replacement. All that stuff is coming very soon. They're finishing up the final touches on the PulseChain to be able to launch that, the sacrifice address set, to be able to publish that, the testnet, so that people are able to create front ends for everything that they want to make on Pulse. So that's 5 employees. Then he hired Hexologist to make thumbnails. Thank God, Hexologist is awesome in making thumbnails. And then he hired some bodyguards. So I would say that's about 3 people at least. So he's up to 9 employees. Look at what he's been able to accomplish. Hundreds of billions of dollars of value created. Amazing. So we haven't seen anything yet, is what I'm saying. I am so bullish on Richard's productivity. It's insane. This is a good comment. Does he need an electrician? Message him, t.me/Richard Hart. Or is it Richard Hartwin? Make sure you get the right one. Bring RH on this channel. He's been on this channel before. Go back and watch the day 4 of the first Hex conference. Hour 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 he's on. It's really, really good content because he and I talked for an hour about mental health and about his self-help book that's 1,700 pages. And that's just one of them. He's written 2. He has been giving a lot. He does need his rest. I agree. If I had his address, I would send him a deep sleep headband because that's really big. That's why they sleep. One testnet. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be all in due time. Awesome. And so again, another way that I feel like I can contribute to the community as somebody who does not need to profit, right? And I try to give back everything that's given to me. I'm trying to pay forward, right? So that's how I spend my time, is creating content for the Hex community. Sure, it'll pump my own bags, right? But that's what we're seeing, is there are people in the Hex community who are streaming who are not only getting better and better at delaying gratification and who are getting richer and richer. These are people who won't have to be bought and paid for by advertisers, who won't have to send people to the slaughterhouse with centralized exchanges and leverage trading. People in Hex, they can do that, right? They can sell out, but they don't have to. We don't have to sell out. And so that's another reason why I'm excited to see other people doing what I'm doing, which is giving away content for free, which is organizing things. I'm working more now than I was before I retired. And I love it. It doesn't feel like work. But I appreciate it when y'all like and subscribe. That helps other people find the channel. And this is one of the things that I'm putting my time into, is organizing this big scientific Hex conference. It's called PulseHex.com. PulseHex.eventbrite.com is where you can get tickets. Now, we're doing this whole fundraising thing. The reason I'm calling it fundraising is because we need to put about $60,000 to $90,000 down to get the conference space. Doing a professional conference, it's not cheap, but I think it's worth it. And really, one of the things that I wanted to make sure people know is that if we look at how many dolphins there are and whales and super sharks in the Hex community, the amount of space that we can have, even for a big conference, is really going to be limited to about 1,369 tickets. Because if you think about it, if we have everybody in a big main stage area, so if Richard's speaking, if all these other big people are coming to speak, who we're not necessarily paying large sums of money to get legacy finance people to speak, because they're going to come to us eventually. We don't have to pay them $50,000 or $100,000 for them to come to the conference. We can spend that money having, meals provided, having this conference space. But if you think about it, you have all the chairs set up for everybody to be in one space to hear these giant lectures. But then you have breakout sessions where people can go and do their breakout sessions on security, on community, on the different streamers, the different presentations that are given with data, like the Crypto Sparbot group did. They presented their predictions for what's going to happen to T-shares in the future. That was one of my favorite parts of the first Hex conference that you can go and watch now. So when you do the breakout sessions, you're not going to move all the chairs immediately. So you really need enough space for about 3,000 people in order to have these different formats like a real scientific conference works. And I've presented at scientific conferences all around the world with my neuroscience background, my psychology background. I've published 7 different publications in scientific journals when it comes to sleep medicine, when it comes to EEG, attention, emotion, and depression research. So also quit smoking, tobacco research. I've presented internationally and all around the United States. So I know how a good conference goes, and that's what we're putting on here for people. And so Tony and I, who is helped put on the first mass Hex meetup, where we crushed a car with a tank, and we met up at all these different places around Las Vegas, having a blast and celebrating our community. We're going to take that to the next level. But the problem is, with only 1,369 tickets, there's not even enough tickets for everybody who's become a millionaire in Hex. So that's why I want to let people know, go ahead and get your ticket now. What you're buying is you're buying a ticket for an online event, but only the people who bought tickets for the online event will be airdropped tickets to go to the physical event in Las Vegas on March 6th through 9th. So that's how we can get the money released from Eventbrite to put the money down to get the conference space, to be able to do those dates and have all the food ready and be able to give you $369 worth of value that you're paying for up front. Otherwise, the way that Eventbrite is going to do things is they're not going to release the money until after the event has happened, and I don't think it makes sense to go into debt in order to fund the conference. The conference should fund itself. And so my prediction is that once the tickets start selling, they're going to sell really fast. And I haven't even really started promoting it that hard because I want to get all the pieces put together at the same time, which is what I've done for all these other events that I've put on. For the first Hex conference that was online, January 6th through 9th, we had over 40 streamers in Hex. We had Richard Hart all come on the program, and that was incredible. That brought a lot of people into the community who started to take Hex more seriously and had one place to see all the content that people had created up until that point. It also allowed members of the community to get green screens so that their presentations would be more professional, and also allowed people to express their ideas in like a time-limited format. So it was a pleasure to put that on. That was put on for free. I came out of my own pocket to pay for things that came up, and that was fine. Like, I'm happy to do that. When it comes to the second Hex conference, we're going to have the online part from January 6th to 9th again, 2022. And then we're going to have the in-person part, March 6th through 9th in Las Vegas. And so, again, I expect those tickets are going to sell out once I really start to push it on all the channels. We've got a Telegram from people who wanted to win the Ski Cat Challenge, where we gave away 1 million Hex in Las Vegas at the Hex meetup. That channel's got like 1,000 people. There's 6,000 people now who watch Quant Gang, and there's all these other Telegram groups that I've set up. There's 350 people in the Hex meetup Telegram. And so once I start pushing out, once I start tweeting about this, right, then I imagine that those tickets are going to go very quickly. So people who want to get those tickets, go ahead and go to pulsehex.eventbrite.com and get them now. Otherwise, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to help you. So that's all I can do. And I've already said this before, but I feel like maybe I should say it again. Like, I'm operating from a position of abundance here in the Hex community, and I feel blessed to be able to do that because we've all gotten so much from Hex and from Richard and from our fellow community members. And so it pleases me, and pumps my bags to see other people wanting to put on Hex meetups and Hex conferences. And so that's exciting to me. I'm going to support those people. I'm going to go to their events. right? I can't wait to meet up with Abit and Patrick Hexline on their tour to have a Hex meetup all around the United States, coming to a city near you, to see Discord Syndicate putting on their conference of like big name, celebrities or something. The more that the members of the Hex community can start to demonstrate their core values of being able to operate without trying to make a profit. Tshare.app is an onboarding tool you can use. We don't take a fee. The Hex conference. Tony and I are going to present the budget on Saturday, so everybody's going to be able to see exactly where all the money goes. We're doing this because we want to build community. We want to promote mental health, people taking Hex seriously, increase adoption, keep the community strong, and to give people a platform, other people in Hex, to be able to do their thing. All of this to say, once you buy your freedom, you might find that you're very passionate about the Hex community, and so you want to work and collaborate. I would love to work with you. Hit me up. allmylinks.com/allin is where you can find my contact methods, Twitter, email, Telegram. It's all, basically everything is at Maddie ALLin, except all my links, which is allmylinks.com/allin, or you can, there's a faster link if you go to maddieall.in, that'll take you to the same place. What we want to do eventually is program mental health into money, where not only can you use Hex to time lock your money, which is going to improve your behaviors usually, but another thing you could do, possibly in the future, if we get enough devs together, would be to behavior lock your money. So you set a goal, I want to quit smoking, I want to lose weight, I want to stop yelling at my kids, and then all of a sudden you're using Fitbit or you're using some technology in order to see how you're doing with that, and then you're time locking your money and it's growing in Hex, like, until you unlock that crypto with your behavior. So when you quit smoking, then you pay yourself, you pay your future self to not only create a savings plan, which is already built into Hex, but then building in this idea of allowing people to mint their own behavior change. So that's a new idea. You can learn more. I've written a Medium article, spent a lot of months and a lot of years like coming up with those ideas. It's in the links below on YouTube, where you can find a lot of other information as well that I hope can be helpful to you. So thank you so much to everybody for checking out the show tonight. I know I want to raid Knights of the Crypto Roundtable, one of my favorite shows in crypto. Let me see. And go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. The channel's blowing up, and we appreciate all of you. And thanks to everybody who's leaving a comment and interacting with each other in the comments. I really appreciate it. Mad Gains, haters gonna hate. Are there spammers out here? Okay, well, that's fine. I guess you're just trying to pump the algorithm. So good to see everybody again. Let me get you the link here so you can raid the next show and let them know who sent you here. Elliot Brand, is he hosting? Maybe they're not going live yet. Do we have more time? Does anybody know? You can go to HexStreamers.com, and that's going to be a place where you can see where everybody in the Hex community is streaming. Eventbrite is spelled B-R-I-T-E. Oh, I should link. I'll drop the links, not just show them on the screen, so that'll make it easier for people to click. So I dropped the link for Hex Streamers, but I also dropped the link for pulsehex.eventbrite.com, or we can do HTTP pulse Hex.com, and that's where the schedule is evolving for the second Hex conference, and it's got a link also to the Eventbrite there. So I'm not sure whose channel it's on tonight. Let me see. It looks like Motley is starting in about half an hour. Okay, so we have a little bit more time here. Okay, so what else can we talk about here? I know that if people have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'm glad to hear that somebody here, Von Hextapo, is flying to Mackay from Queensland and downloaded the Whales and Coin Gang episodes for the trip. Awesome. We had an amazing Coin Gang this week. I am so lucky to be able to stream with these amazing people in the Hex community, with Whales Only, Kareem, Future Us. Sometimes we argue, sometimes we agree. At the end of the day, we all want to see people do better. We want to explain the deeper issues to help people understand Hex, Pulse, the sacrifice phase, help people understand Bitcoin and Ethereum, the different quantitative trends, and the different psychological aspects that go into paying your future self and saving for your future. It's, there's a lot to cover there. And another thing I'm looking forward to is doing a little bit more of a set format. We were talking after the show, and I've got some ideas now about how to make Coin Gang even more digestible and smooth, because really what I'm seeing is there are so many people here in the YouTube space in crypto, and they're all upping their game, and that's awesome. Like I'm talking about even like not Hex streamers. I'm seeing, these other channels, they're giving me a lot of good ideas. They're using some of the ideas that I've already found to be effective. And so I love being a YouTuber. I love being a part of this community. And so I think you're going to continue to see me doing my best, getting more and more skills, and being able to deliver higher and higher quality of shows because it's what I enjoy, because it's easy. All links, right click and new tab. There you go. I'm a noob trying to figure all this out. I haven't gotten in yet. Getting my money right to buy Hex. Perfect. Welcome to the community. There is an app that I created. It's a web app, so you just go to a website called tshare.app. And what you're going to find there is a 15-second game, and it's going to help you to download the right version of MetaMask, and that's going to be your wallet that everybody uses in Hex. And then it's also going to let you play a 15-second game to drop a claw, like a claw game, and that helps you decide whether to start a 5, 10, or 15-year stake. So it's going to get you within MetaMask to be able to buy Hex by buying Ethereum, then converting it to Hex. You can buy Ethereum with Apple Pay, with your debit card, or with a bank debit card, but it's a little bit more complicated if you don't have it set up with Apple Pay. Buying crypto is hard, but once you have the ETH, you put it in your MetaMask, then you save a little bit of ETH for the staking transaction. But the app, it's going to know what's going on in your wallet, so it's going to give you the right steps at the right time. It's got a little achievement thing that shows you what the next step is. And so I spent countless hours onboarding family and friends, and then I figured out it would be way, way better to just make the app answer all the questions and take you to the right place all at the same time. So, I've also got a little QR code for that, tshare.app. And then for all of you advanced users, you can go to go.tshare.app, and that's your wallet. When you already have your MetaMask, you can connect it to the read-only, and then that's going to allow you to stake any amount of Hex for any duration. For people who are new, I recommend only starting out with like $80 stakes. Like that's 500 hex. So tshare.app, like it's going to set people up to go ahead and make a $50 buy or a $200 buy to buy Ethereum, convert it to hex, and then be able to stake 500 hex at a time. So that gets people started. Even if they don't understand the system, I wish I had that. I wish I came into Hex and somebody was like, just do this little $200 amount or just do this little $80 amount. That would have been really cool. And so that's what it's designed to walk people through. It's not going to help people understand what is Hex. That's what the streams are for. That's what the playlist is that I've got on here on this channel. What is Hex and Hex cameos? In 10 minutes, it's going to explain Hex in 3 different videos, three times over. So that's going to help people understand what it is. And even Richard today tweeted, it's all about T-shares, and few people realize this. So that's pretty important. Pretty important clue there. So tshare.app should be very helpful for people. Then once you're an advanced user, you're going to go to go.tshare.app, connect your MetaMask read-only. Then if it's going to do anything, it's going to pop up in MetaMask like you're used to, just like go.hex.com. But what you're going to find on go.tshare.app, it's going to show you the chart of future market supply so you can plan your stake just right so that you can make sure that you're not ending right after a big whale has ended their stake and maybe they would sell the price down. You can stake for any duration, not just 5, 10, or 15 years. You can stake for 1 day or 5,555 days. And then in the YouTube links below, you're also going to find another front end that we built that's called quattrocinco.club, and that is going to lead you to a front end for Hex that only does 5,555 day stakes and then gives you a little badge for every one you've ever done. And so if you've done 5 quattrocinco stakes ever, even before you learned about that front end, you go there and it's going to read your wallet and it's going to say, congratulations. Here's your membership in the quattrocinco club. So that's pretty cool. So there are all these tools that we can create for free, where we don't take a fee, we don't scam anybody. It's just another front end for Hex, right? Because that seems useful to people. So I hope people will check that out and use it, because I use it myself. I love it. I've done thousands and thousands of dollars staked on quattrocinco.club, on tshare.app. And then you can go on go.hex.com and you can see that it shows up there too, and you can see that it's doing everything it's supposed to in MetaMask. So let's see here. So I know we're going to go to Motley the Investor's channel here in about 15 minutes, but if anybody has any more questions, go ahead and lay them on me. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe. And the reason why I say you don't even need to start out with that much money to be able to experience what Hex is about. It's about delaying gratification, time locking your money, earning trustless interest where you don't have to give up your keys. So I hope that that's helpful. Can Omega help with ADHD? Yes. I did my master's thesis on ADHD. And so I can tell you I didn't do original research when it comes to omega-3, but ADHD is a prefrontal cortex hypo stimulation, right? So there's a lack of electrical activity in the prefrontal cortex in ADHD. ADHD as an adult can be a very adaptive thing where you've learned all the coping skills, and then you're actually performing better because you're able to think more clearly and have more energy, and there's a number of advantages that people have. But the impulsivity is what gets you in trouble, and the inattentiveness, those are both things that happen in the prefrontal cortex that omega-3 can help with. Absolutely. It's still so expensive to swap ETH to Hex. Yeah, very true. That's why PulseChain's around. For me, it was really expensive when I bought my first Ethereum, and it was $13. It was $12.50, and the fee was $7.50. But now that Ethereum's worth like $2,000, $3,000, somewhere in there. So, I mean, like, crypto, if it goes up a lot, it would still be worth it usually to buy the crypto instead of just like, what if I only just had like $20 still? That would suck. But you have to make your own financial decisions. This is not financial advice. It's not therapy or medical advice. You have to check with your doctor. You have to check with your financial advisor and all that stuff if you really want the advice. For me, I'm just telling you what I did. Free speech, yada, yada. What's the background on how Richard chose the name Hex? He wanted it to be something different. I'll give you the official version and my version. He wanted it to be something different. At first, he chose Bitcoin Hex because he registered every name he could think of like Bitcoin and another word. And then he ended up really liking Hex because it's unique. And honestly, it hasn't been used already too much. Another reason I'll tell you is like every website in the world has like in its source code talking about Hex because it's part of the color system that web pages use. So like if I was a search engine and I wanted to block Hex, it'd be really hard to do that, I think. Maybe it's not that hard, but I would think it would be harder. But yeah, Richard said it recently he doesn't even like Hex crypto. He just wants Hex to be Hex because crypto is so messed up with like corruption and promise coins and all that kind of stuff. So yes, the Coin King was pretty epic. Loved all the info. Thanks. Thank you very much. BTC Bull Trap. That's what we hear. Even brothers fight mad. I don't know. I'm being pleased. That's right. Okay, catching up in the comments here. Sacrifice phase is done. That's correct. Understand, Hex has many views from all walks of life. Yes, it's a real community. Absolutely. And that's one of the things I love about it. These are real views. We're not paying for views. We're not faking anything. About 2 months away from launch. Just bought a ticket. Awesome. Very, very good. And we'll really be excited to see you there. And you'll be able to find out more as the event develops. Can I still buy Hex, though, and stake? I don't see why not. People who are buying now might be included in the snapshot. So you might get a copy. You might buy your copy on Ethereum and then get airdropped a copy on Pulse. No promise coins here. Research before. A great group. Awesome. Snapshot mooning. T.me/HexCrypto is the official Telegram for Hex. T.me/PulseChain.com is the official Telegram for PulseChain. These are the main Telegram channels. There are voice chats that are super helpful. Crypto Gains Club 369. I love clubs. That's right. Watch us and go. We catfished each other. Love it. Voice chat runs 24/7. It's like Hex and Pulse Radio. I like that too. Go.hex.com and hex.com are the two main websites. Let's see, Mel Tony updating us with the price. Tshare.app, that's correct. And go.tshare.app. Thanks, Benny, for including those hot links in the chat. Any brand will do. I can show the brand that I use. I will drop a link here now. I use the Sam's Club brand, Members Mark, Omega 369. I think I had a referral link once, but I don't use it. Things are good for you. Neither were restrictions on Pulse Lead for the first 14 days. Do you think it will be updated? It's not, they chose to only include the part where your ranking can change. So the part where the origin address entered in the last day or two, that doesn't count towards the lead part. So they said that they weren't going to include that. Omega 369 has helped me so much. It helps you think clearly and remember and access things quicker. It's like a buff for your brain. That's right. And what I forgot to mention earlier is most people notice an effect after 1 to 4 weeks of taking it only. That's how long it takes to install the electrical insulation in your prefrontal cortex. That's very fast, in my opinion, for life-changing mental clarity. Can I get Pulse? You'll be able to get it once it goes live. Right now, you can't buy it, and if somebody says you can, they're probably scamming you. I have to wait till the main net launches. Yeah. Thanks, Hex19, for the $4.99 super chat. Hi, Maddie. Thanks for tonight's stream. Bought 2 tickets to Hex Pulse 2022. That's awesome. Really excited to see you there. And everybody else, make sure to get your tickets at pulsehex.com and pulsehex.eventbrite.com. Why RIP EIP 1559? Well, rewind to the beginning of the episode. That's what I started out with because I believe in using as much honesty as possible with my clickbait. I just like that to answer the title question right away. And I guess to summarize, it's because the game theory isn't the best, and they've already lost $200 million due to losing keys because they're incentivizing people to give their keys to middlemen to earn yield, and that could do great things for the price, but ultimately end in ruin. It's not the point of crypto. If crypto sticks to its ideology and doesn't become the system that it's trying to replace, then it can be something new. That's what Pulse is. So we'll see, right? Like just like I predicted that $14 billion, well, I predicted $10 billion would come in from the origin address. But if you think about it, I made that prediction, like QuantGang started, Hex went up 20 or 30x. So I was within like 1x of just off the top of my head estimating how much crypto the origin address had. So I am very impressed with myself for calling when nobody else did, or very few people were calling as early as I did publicly, that the game theory suggested that the origin address would sacrifice 10 to 4, it ended up being $14 billion worth of crypto. And I mean, 700 million came in from independent users. And then, like 1.2 billion in stable coins. So there's real adoption there, I believe. And so PulseChain being ready based on the information that I'm looking at, PulseChain being prepared to suck all of the value out of Ethereum 2.0 and 1.0 due to its advanced liquidity breakthroughs in game theory is what I think will cause the RIP of EIP 1559. Even if it's not a buy the news, buy the news, sell the, what is it? Buy the rumor, sell the news? Yeah. Even if it's not something like that, even if it doesn't dump right now, because the previous peaks, those were all based on liquidity events, right? Like the CME doing futures in the 2017 top, and then Coinbase going public in the 2021 top. It doesn't matter to me what Ethereum does. I mean, it kind of does. Like, I have a little bit left, but I don't have that much, just because I recognize the value of Pulse, because I understand the game theory, I think. So if that's, like, people, there's two types of people in the world: people who are gonna already understand game theory and people who will in the future. Quality omega-3 brands, I dropped the link already. Avoid chasing promises and hopium. Stick with the real deal. Holyfield. Hex is a finished product. Lives on the internet. Works just flawlessly as is. I appreciate it. I love you guys too. Here's the link for Amazon Members Mark, Omega-369. Got another 5 minutes until the guys go live here. Let's see. Dylan Lee, what's going on? Good to see you. Melv Tony, you're an asset. I take codfish oil from Norway. What's a good video to watch to learn how to buy ETH to get Hex? Hodl Dog has good videos. YouTube.hodl.dog. Or, or if you go to twitter.com/tshare app, twitter.com/@tshare app, I posted videos. There should be one pinned that shows you how to use tshare app in MetaMask to buy crypto, to buy ETH and get Hex. When you buy like on some exchanges, then they like hold on to it for a while. They only let you withdraw like $100 at a time, and you need to do that. Where do you get tickets? That's going to be pulsehex.eventbrite.com. I just dropped the link there. Hey, Maddie, good to see you, brother. Good to see you, Maddie Crypto. What a family this Hex community has become. Absolutely. I love it. And I mean, you guys, on the YouTube community tab here, there are a list of questions, like survey questions that I've done. And my favorite one so far was people responding to say whether Hex made them a millionaire yet or not, whether they're still waiting. And like 26% of, I mean, there were almost 900 votes. Crazy numbers. And about 26% of people said that they had become a millionaire from Hex, which is over 200 people. That's incredible. So we said where to get tickets. Very interesting between all Hex streamers and Richard. I've become very drawn to this community lately. Welcome. I love to hear comments from all the new people. We're very excited to have you here, because unlike in other cryptos where they need you to buy in, like, you might get the impression from this community, like, we don't need you to buy in. Like, we're going to be just fine. But like, the types of behavioral gains and the type of community gains that you're going to get, it's worth more than money. Like I said earlier in the show, some people, they'll get rich from Bitcoin and Ethereum and not know what to do with themselves, and they're going to come to this channel or hopefully somewhere else and learn about sudden wealth syndrome and how to cope with it. And I'm going to keep doing special videos about that. I'm excited. I'm excited to make videos for the community, but there's already a lot of good content you can check out, and we're gonna keep making better and better stuff to help people out. because that's where, like, I'm a retired counselor, like I'm a retired mental health professional. Like I can sit on YouTube and help people. 1559. Just another try. We are crypto. That's right. Yeah, and they like rushed it to market. That's silly. Don't rush software. I get lots of stream time. I appreciate that coming from you. You're here as much as I am. Very good, very good. If Hex has hexagons, what's a good name for PulseChain? Well, PulseChains is what some people are saying. But come up with your own name. You know, like the more names, the better that can go into it. Nailed the prediction. Yep. Thanks. Not ready for a longer stake, but I do have a year stake and also sacrificed. So looking forward to where we go. Awesome. Very good. Good for you. And, you know, everybody's in a different situation. The point is that you're here and you're early. And I didn't make 15-year stakes when I first got into Hex in the early days because we didn't understand how good t-shirts were. See here, lots of people saying hi to each other in the chat. Good to see you, Crypto King, Sandy B, Dr. Moore. I'm hoping ETH flips BTC just so that it will shut up the maxi fans. There you go. Shout out to Maddie for all the wonderful information he's sharing with us. My pleasure. My pleasure. Let's see here. Twitter.com/tsharab. Thanks, Hextoshi. Thanks for sharing that. And then Benny, thanks for sharing Hodl Dog's channel. I think it's youtube.hodl.dog. I'm fans of like so many other people in Hex who create content. I just like, I appreciate and study their methods. Hodl Dog has like all these good ways to like link up with his content. I think that's the domain that I saw him share. Hodl or youtube.hodl.dog. Whales only, maybe share more fully backed stocks. The masses need to know a 20x on something makes sense. Okay. Crypto Coffee's channel is another good place to learn more about how to buy Hex. Balliet Brand also has really good content. Like I said, you can go to hexstreamers.com and see all the people who are streaming at any given moment and the recent videos that have gone through. Gerardo's channel is also really good. Cash Plus, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Great stream. I appreciate it. My pleasure. Yeah, your Sun Wealth Syndrome video was top notch. Gonna try the Omega-3. I'm so happy. I really feel good about other people wanting to take the simple steps that are gonna have the biggest impact in improving their lives. youtube.hodl.dog. Keep sharing the Kitco News interview, and Crypto King has put together a tiny URL that's helpful for people to find that one. Awesome. I just saw part 2 today. It was shorter, so the first one was 45 minutes, the second part was 15 minutes. Both are outstanding. Richard did a great job. My pleasure. Whales Only channel, of course. Check out Whales Only. And then my husband needs to quit smoking. My Hex will never get unlocked if it was up to him quitting. Well, I hope that we'll be able to create tools that will create the right incentives for people and to create their own incentives and to do that in a way where we're not trying to profit from others, but where technology is being used and programmable money is being used in order to create abundant health for all. I think that's the future. That's going to be the powerful model that breaks through all the noise, all the corruption, and gives people for free what they deserve, which is to have healthier lives, to have more time and freedom to do the things that they love, to be with the people that they love, and to make the world a better place. It's really exciting. It's life-changing stuff. Johnny Chaos on Twitch and Funding Jim. That's right. Hex, don't stop. It's an actual journalist who asked some pretty good questions. Yeah, imagine that. I love it. I freaking love it. If I leave Hex on a MetaMask wallet, will it automatically turn to PHEX after the airdrop? It will get a copy. So you'll have your eHex and a copy of your PHEX. That's right. If you leave Hex on a MetaMask wallet, because with MetaMask, you control your own keys. Now, it's worth saying, don't share your private keys with anybody, no matter how much they try. You should never on the internet, if somebody's impersonating me or one of the other Hex streamers, never share your private seed words with anyone. Don't put them into a website. Keep those careful, and use the official voice chat in the public spaces and get lots of different opinions from people who aren't messaging you directly. Or on these live streams, you can ask security questions if you really want to. I'm not going to take responsibility for people's security mistakes, but what we're going to do is try to educate people and try to keep people safe from the scammers. And the scammers hopefully move on to people who are less educated, unfortunately, but we do the best we can. Thinking of buying a bicycle. Health anywhere and fun. That's right. I love riding bikes. Funding Gym has 2 channels. That's right. Gifting you Hex and Funding Gym. Super Hex on TikTok. That's right. Do you guys think I should go on TikTok? I might go on TikTok. When's the snapshot for Pulse happening? We don't know yet, which is cool because it's before it's been announced. So a lot of times when the snapshots get announced, the price of that thing goes up a lot. So that'd be cool. I'm here. What did I miss, Maddie? Well, you missed hearing me on 2X in the replay. So good to see you, Futras. One of my good friends in crypto. Let's see. Likes doing wheelies. There you go. Red Bull is not good for you. Very true. TikTok scares me. Good to see you, Nick. Okay, just caught up. Perfect. Very good. Thank you. Thanks for the compliment on my hair. So I am testing out different environments to stream in. So my lighting here in this room is not as good, which is why I'm using the Matrix background. Because I figured if my green screen is going to glitch out a little bit, I might as well make it meaningful. See, I put effort into this. This is the normal background. I'm gonna keep updating my stuff because I'm really enjoying the graphic design. If y'all didn't notice, my thumbnails are on point. By the way, I'm very proud of that, and I hope that's going to attract more people to be able to learn about mental health, to be able to learn about Hex and Pulse, about real crypto, about altruism, paying your future self, increasing your health behaviors, helping others, buying your freedom, right? All that stuff. So, learning how to prepare yourself for Sun Wealth Syndrome so when you get there, you don't get stuck. What's the app? tshare.app. It's a website. So you go to the tshare.app website. I'm going to go back to the Matrix. Okay, let's see if Crypto Knights of the Roundtable has started yet. Because I would love to raid them. Here we go. They got a bunch of people waiting. They might be watching the stream, waiting for me to finish, and I'm waiting for them to start. So there we go. what did you use to make the thumbnails? I use a free like version of Photoshop that's just on the internet. It's called Pixlr. I can drop a link for it. The more the merrier when it comes to people being able to use free tools. So I just dropped the link there. It's like a weird URL. It's like pixlr.com/e. I don't know. That's what I use, and I really like it. Hex for mental health. That's right. Thank you so much, HexFlex, for the $9.99 super chat. Maddie, I love you and your advice. Simply, what do you use for an off-ramp, and which bank do you find is the easiest in the US? I ask because I can't find these answers easily. Resources about the best ways. That's a great question. So, for me, I do my stuff the legal way. I pay my taxes, and so I'm using different tools. When it gets closer to tax time, you can ask me. I kind of want to do a referral link for the tax software that I use because it's like really good and really affordable, and they do have like a referral program. But you might just ask me in a couple months, and I'll just tell you without doing a referral because hey, our hex bags are doing well. So what I do is I go back to Coinbase. So like I started with Coinbase in 2017 or earlier. So I have, I guess, like a relationship with Coinbase. Do I like Coinbase? No. Do I like centralized exchanges? No. Is it an off-ramp? Yes. So I use that. So I can send USDC there, and I can swap it out for USD, and then I can transfer that to my bank account. So I use my local bank. So I have a relationship with my local bank. Even though I could do all my banking online, I go into the branch and I say hi to the people, right? And I let them get to know me. Because in the United States, there are laws called KYC-AML. Stands for Anti-Money Laundering, Know Your Customer. And even though I don't agree with the fact that like your dollars aren't really yours, and I even know like family members and relatives and people in the community who like sometimes get stuck because if you do a transaction of like $10,000 or more, then that's going to have to get reviewed basically by the government. And usually they let it go through, but they might start asking questions. For me, I put my money in through Coinbase, and so when I take it out through Coinbase, right? You can't send Hex to Coinbase, but you can swap it on an automated market maker. Or, you can sell your other coins that you don't think are going to appreciate as much. For me, that meant selling Bitcoin and Ethereum and another coin that I did well on. Sometimes if I don't need the money right away from those coins, and I think they're going to go down, I might put it into Hex temporarily. And then that makes me feel better because I'm not really like selling my Hex because like I'm just holding my Bitcoin in Hex for a little while. And then I'm selling that Bitcoin that's been, held in Hex for a little while. So that's my strategy. I used to switch it to ETH and then send it to Coinbase, but then they charge a higher conversion fee than if you just turn it to USDC. So yeah, just and then so either you can do like a transaction that's more than $10,000 and then like have some explaining to do, or you can do like smaller transactions like $2,000, so like $2,500 at a time, or like $5,000 or $6,000 at a time. So that's hopefully useful. If you do too many transactions too fast, like if you do a bunch of $6,000 transactions like every day, then they're gonna call that structuring. It's what's called structuring in the banking system. And so they're gonna come at you and be like, all right, you're like trying to get around this $10,000 rule. So we're going to ask questions. And then they ask questions, and then you can answer them, and then they might let you use your money. But that makes a lot of sense. Like another way to offboard that could be risky in like other cryptos, but maybe not as much with Hex, but like not relationship advice, is like if there are people that you know in your personal life and they're having trouble getting into crypto, like, and depending on your jurisdiction and like how you're doing a trade, in some cases you can do an over-the-counter trade, and that's going to be perfectly legal and like not going to raise any problems. So like if your family member wants to buy like $2,000 worth of Hex, or somebody that you know, and they're sure of it, and like they're going to buy it either way, so you're not like pressuring them into it. And so they're not going to be mad at you if it like dips and then they have weak hands and then it wrecks your relationship with them. Like, that's a delicate matter, right? That needs its own discussion and consideration. But like, if you've got people who really want to get in and they need your help and you're helping them out, you could save a transaction fee for yourself and a transaction fee for them, or multiple ones along the way. They give you the money, a check, cash, Apple Pay, whatever it is. They give you the money and you give them the crypto. Meeting up with strangers I don't like as much. Hopefully that's helpful. Yes. Let's see what else. Knights of Crypto. There you go. That's a good link. Pixar is great. This is not Pixar, but it's maybe just misspelled it. It's Pixlr. Pixlr. Let's see. Awesome, thanks. My pleasure. Coinbase and Gemini, only way. You prefer Gemini? Excellent. Very good. 1559, kick ass. Well, hey, I don't mind it. I mean, if Ethereum wants to make it work correctly, that's fine. I'm just not going to buy in a bunch into Ethereum when I don't know what it's going to do. I'm more technically certain about Hex and Pulse, and at the end of the day, everything's speculation, but no risk, no reward, I guess. 1 million ETH burnt on day one. That's interesting. Cool. Well, imagine how much Pulse is going to get burnt, and then imagine that on Pulse, there's not going to be new supply created. On ETH, as far as I know, the Ethereum Foundation is still making new Ethereum. They're still increasing the total supply. Thanks, man. I know it seems silly. I really needed that. Hey, you're asking good questions. That's a super relevant question. How do I offboard? How do I get my money out of crypto? Yes. People have to like pay rent and buy food and all the other things, right? I will say too, though, I'm really happy with my decision to not raise my lifestyle too quickly. Like for me, I talked about this a couple weeks ago, like I feel more like myself, and like my sudden wealth syndrome is like in a better place because I went out and bought some dress pants on sale. Even though I can afford to spend more on dress pants, like that helped me feel like myself. So I don't feel like an imposter, so I don't feel like I'm changing too quickly, so I stay grounded. That's not going to be right for everybody. Some people, they want to ball out, they want to get attention from people because they're spending a lot of money. I'm not here to judge that. What I'm saying, for me, not buying a new car, not buying a new house, like not spending a bunch of money, like me delaying gratification, even though it's painful and I don't like to do it, it's growing on me because it's allowing me to improve my relationships because I have more time, because I have more energy, because I'm not running the rat race. So like for me, it's been really mentally healthy to not cash out too much too quick, for what that's worth. But having a way to do it, knowing that you can do it, being able to do it to the extent that you want to and need to, that's what we're here for. That's what the community is here for, to help people with any questions they have that are reasonable. Bitcard to money. That's right. Some people have the Coinbase like debit card or something. Pulse is going to launch ETH and BTC and all crypto. I hope so. Sent funds will not impair account. Interesting. Hex is amazingly unique. That's right. Hex to Bitcoin to Bitcard, ATM to cash. Interesting. Make a note of that. Thank you again, HexFlex, for the $9.99 super chat again. I appreciate it. I also like your name, HexFlex. Thanks, man. That was actually really helpful. I've been blessed a lot by Hex and this community and wanted to pull 6 figures one time only. I'm totally in it for the long run, but I need to be smart. Awesome. Very, very good. Great info here. My pleasure. I had to go wrong. Dollar cost average, averaging in, really dollar cost in, dollar cost out. Yeah, I like that strategy too. I do a mixed approach where I will, have enough, for 3 to 6 months of living expenses as a first priority when I have extra savings in crypto, and then from that point on, I'm kind of playing it by ear. But I went from having yearly stakes only to now, with my first year-long stake that came out, I now have quarterly stakes. And then I have my certain percentage that's liquid, which is like 1 to 3% of my total amount of Hex, because I plan to live 1 to 3% of my life in the next year. So that's all I need liquid to have like a continuous savings. Dollar cost in, dollar cost out. It's very good for a lot of people. Hex to Ethereum to buy gift cards. Interesting. Can you explain how delegated stakes will be rewarded if there's no inflation in Pulse? Yeah, that's a good question. So there will be transaction fees that will be small, but
just kidding, it's 5 a.m.
So the fees are going to be minimal. They're going to be pennies. What's really going to incentivize the validation, in my opinion, is the large bag holders. The 100 millionaires who have bought millions of dollars of Pulse, they will be the ones who will be validating transactions for near free or for pennies. And then really at the end of the day, Hex is going to be where you want to stake and earn high interest. So that's just my speculation. That there won't be a giant incentive at first. Maybe there will be. I don't think it'll come from inflation, which is cool. I'd rather have it that way, if you ask me. I don't know about gift cards. Do your own research. Good advice. Bought paper plates to ball out. Good job, Markaveli. Respect. Great advice. Gold necklace. We must transition to a crypto instead of fiat economy. Right on. Yeah, you could find somebody, pay somebody in crypto. That's cool. Good to catch you live. Yeah, likewise. I'm glad you tuned in. Interesting to hear how Matty handles it, the community therapist himself. Very insightful. My pleasure. My pleasure. Matty's the senpai of Hex. Thank you for the kind words. It's hard to delay gratification. That's right. I feel bad physically when I send money to my future self, and I feel great whenever I receive money from my past self. And that's okay, right? And that's why I seek those moments of clarity when I can send money to my future self. And so far, that's been going really well. Yay, new profile picture for me. Good job. Good job there, DXTA. I'm not looking for Lambos. I'm looking for land, yo. Right on. That's very cool. I support that. Having land sounds really cool. I was talking about that today. Will come, I feel, hopefully. How's it going, Jimmy Diamonds? Good to see you there. I saw you on Twitter and was thinking about how I appreciate your participation in the community. Slowly, but I hope we get there. Me too. Nights just went live. We're rolling there. Next, y'all, very good, very good. PLS has zero inflation. Validators only earn fees, and 25% of the fees are burned to reduce the circulating supply. PulseChain's native token, PLS, can be staked and delegated to validators that reward the delegators with the largest percentage of fees. I'm going to liquidity pool my Pulse. There you go. This info is taken from the PulseChain website. Thanks, Maddie. See you at the roundtable. Very good. Since everything will be $0 on Pulse release, what stops me from exchanging 10 million Pulse for 10 million PX when it first drops? There is going to be a bot that goes in and is the only one that can trade for the first day, and that's going to make sure that nobody has a tax liability, so people don't have to sell to pay their taxes from getting an airdrop. So that's why everything will be zero at release, but you won't be able to trade on the network freely until the bot goes through and fixes the liquidity, so it'll be closer to where the price discovery will happen. There's still probably going to be a lot of opportunities to speculate, to gamble and trade, but that's what's going to stop somebody from going in with a bot anyway and getting all the value for no good reason. And if you think about it, it'd be really interesting to know what's going to happen with that value that is created because of the mismatching liquidity due to the large supply of Pulse compared to ETH. So I think it's going to be really good. Not financial advice. This is what I'm here for, is to tell you what I'm doing, to tell you what I'm thinking, and to hope that that will help you to be healthier, happier, have better mental health. Thank you for asking the good questions here. Future self, future kids. Can you explain what happened on that 19th day where the stock price shot up exponentially? Is it going to be a good thing or a bad thing for us that look to hold long term? I think it'll be a really good thing. I think just like in Hex, there was an origin address that came in who's also the original architect, and basically what they're doing is to keep the whales in check. Because if one or two whales were the only ones who believed, the only people who put in $10 million, $25 million, they would be able to dump the price and to make the price keep dumping forever. But if they know that the original architect has 15 times the supply that they could have because it put in $15 billion or $12 billion at the end, then that's going to help balance the system. What we've seen is that the address that put those Hex in that were worth over 10 billion has never sold Hex, probably because it doesn't have to. And so it won't have to sell Pulse, in my imagination. So we'll see if that comes true. But that goes back to game theory. It goes back to, being able to delay gratification, being able to take crypto off the market and never sell. Create pumpamentals. I'm not even looking to get rich right now. I'm just looking to financially breathe so I can build my empire with mental clarity. I love that. Very good, very good. PulseChain Poppy, good name as well. You're in the perfect place for that. My pleasure, Thomas, to do the stream. Good to see you back, Sandy. Marcavelli here as one of our bots. No, he's a real person. So is Pulse more of a hold and wait for appreciation token versus Hex being a stake and wait and appreciation token? We'll see. I think Pulse might get adoption first, and then that value might flow into Hex as people start to trust Richard and Pulse more. We'll have to see. I'm going to be holding both. I do think that we're going to have probably big swings in price in both, because that's a feature, not a bug in crypto, for the impatient to pay the patient. I can tell y'all, man, Hex is the best. It's like nothing else. It's a truly monumental invention. I totally agree, Frankie. When will the Hex bear market happen? Ready to buy more cheaper? I'm not sure. I think adoption could counteract that. I think that we'll continue to have dips, but that will just be due to low liquidity because it's in a better position to pump. So, people are going to try all the different strategies. And I'm not wanting to be a trader, right? So I'm trying to dollar cost in, dollar cost out, that sort of thing, and use Hex as a savings vehicle, but not gamble with money that I'm going to need right away so I can survive. Not selling during a dip. This is the big thing for me. But I did dollar cost average in. I bought dips when I got in, but then I realized buying dips and selling tops in Hex in the first 6 months was going to end up being a stupid strategy. So I quit while I was ahead and switched to the strategy of not being left behind. It doesn't matter. I bought the top at 1 cent, 2 cents. I remember on Hexo's live stream, like helping to make the top at a penny, right? So who cares? It dropped back down to 1/3 of a cent. I bought more than 2. I'm struggling to understand what to physically do with Pulse other than eventually sell. I mean, it's deflationary, so there's never going to be any more of it. And I mean, stupid stuff that doesn't have a use, duct taped crap, like does really well in crypto. So maybe Pulse will do well. We don't know, right? But it's the market dynamics, the psychology, the economics behind it, the game theory is if people buy and they don't sell, or if people buy and then more people buy than sell, that's price positive. And what we can see from PulseChain is there's probably only like 45,000 people who bought in, and there were a lot of other people who would have bought in, I think, if it was listed on Coinbase or if it was easier. So we'll have to see what happens, right? But the odds are we might still be early. Look, it could dump. It could dump forever, right? Like, that's in the cards. But if you think about it, a lot of the people who bought in are people who might not need the money because they're in Hex and they're doing really well. Or they might need the money more because their Hex is already locked. But I think most people in Hex like have liquid and locked and Pulse now. So if anybody wants to buy in from these strong hands, they're going to have to push the price higher. Good to see you there. Pulse can be staked as well. It's proof of stake. Very good. Want to dance. I love dancing. Richard said, Hex is bear market proof. I think right now Hex is cheap. Cool. Where did my eye go? You can stake it and then just sell your profits. Hex has support at 13.8 cents. The target's DCA if you want to buy Hex, according to this person. I bought a Vegas 2022 ticket. How can I ensure I bought the correct ticket? Well, if you bought from my official Eventbrite, that's linked through my Twitter. My Twitter shows up there because I've linked the accounts. It is at the following link I'll drop here. So if you got a ticket, the first week of fundraising, that already happened. And then now we're in the second week. So if somebody bought in the first week, then it would show on Eventbrite that the event already happened. But of course, you are now on the list to get airdropped a ticket for the physical conference to be part of that select few of 1,369 people that we're trying to limit the event to because we'll actually have to have the space for like 2,700 people in that case because we're going to have shares set up for a main hall and then shares set up for a breakout. So that's why we need the money to be able to spend all $369 before before and as the event is happening, so everybody gets their value and so our money doesn't get stuck in Eventbrite. So we're just being very transparent. We're gonna do a live stream on Saturday, and that's gonna be devoted only to explaining and answering these types of questions. DM me, ask me in these live chats. I'm happy to answer any questions about the Vegas tickets. And again, it's linked there. Pulse hex.eventbrite.com or pulsehex.com should take you there as well. Do you think these exchanges will list Pulse? That's a really good question. I don't know. I thought exchanges were going to list Hex after the big payday. So I was wrong about that. I underestimated how corrupt the crypto space is. But now I know. That's cool. Is Pulse deflationary as well? Yes. You can learn more at PulseChain.com. The links are in the description below. So 45K people own 100% of all Pulse, right? So no one will be able to buy if everyone holds forever, right? That sounds correct. Yeah. But remember, there's going to be really small amounts that are airdropped to people who hold Ethereum. So if you hold Ethereum, then you get like 1/10,000th of the amount that you could have bought in for. There's going to be some that's given away to Ethereum holders. So there would be a little bit on the market for the people who didn't buy in with the sacrifice. Yes, Pulse is going to be huge. Not selling any, please. PLS. 1 cent was fun and wild. And that experience now doubled, a couple doubles or more. I'm not selling any Pulse. It's a serious hold. Very good. So Hex Farmer, let me know if I answered your question there. My ticket says August 3rd. The link says August 10th. Yes, so if you bought in the first week, then you are going to be included in that group of people that gets the physical tickets for the physical event. We had to create an online event in order to be able to get the money out, to be able to fund the conference, right? So, and T-Money and I are going to present all that information, present the budget, show where the money is going to book the venue. But right now, the reason why I'm saying there's only 1,369 tickets total is because I expect it will run out. And I want OGs to be able to get in, hopefully. Although anybody's welcome. It's just that there's already more than 1,369 millionaires from Hex. So that's why I'm saying that they're rare, and this is going to be the event of a lifetime for me, and I know many others. So it's only going to get bigger and bigger every year, I'm sure. You know, QuantGang this past week got 6,000 views already on YouTube in 2 days. That's without all the views on Twitter. And that's more than the first Hex conference, day 1, 2, or 3, either individually got. Now, day 4 of the online Hex conference in January had, like, Richard Hart was on there for like 3 or 4 hours. And so we got over 10,000 views on that. But like, QuantGang, our weekly stream, 5.5 hours, pulling in 6K views, even if everybody's not watching the entire time, it's amazing engagement, amazing adoption. It's wild, right? Only 1 in 6, after that videos went up for a week, QuantGang, only 1 in 6 people maybe are going to be able to attend the conference. So I hope that answers the question you had. Yeah, so if you have an August 3rd ticket, that means that you were in the first week of people buying, and so you're set. Even if I'm about to become homeless, I would never early end stake. Wow, that's outstanding. I'm loading up on Hex. Got 10K worth yesterday. Congratulations. I hope that does really well. I think it will. Where can I find info on Hex staking percent gain over staking time? Well, it's a dynamic system, so it's going to change over time. Right now, it also depends on how long you're time locking for. So if you go to go.hex.com, you connect your MetaMask, it's going to show you every day for all 613 days or whatever. It's going to show you what the interest was each day because it's based on what percentage of people were time locked on that day. That being said, there are complicated game theory reasons to suggest that we might see the same interest rate we're seeing now persist for longer than I would have thought it would happen for multiple years. Right now, people who are average length stakers are earning about 35% APY. That means your money, the amount of Hex you have is doubling every 2 years. Rule of 72. And it also means that, so if you're an average length staker, that means you're staked for 5.8 years currently. So if you're staking for 1 year, I think it's like the 12% APY, somewhere around there. But it's, that's actually kind of a hard equation to work out because we don't know what the future will hold. I would like to create a tool where you can make your own predictions, like you select from a drop-down menu what actually your guess is, like is the APY going to stay the same? Is it going to go down or up? Like how long are you going to stake for? I think we can make better tools for that. But the truth is you're early still. All the tools haven't been made yet. I'm in the 7,000th something position of all holders of Pulse. Feels good. Very well done. Very well done. If you're in the top 7,000 of Bitcoin, you're doing well, pretty well too. Hex for Life, been here since 2019. Thanks for joining us, especially on Periscope there. I will swap Pulse for a luxury submarine. Hit me up if you have one. No joke. Hey, free advertising right here. Can I get one, please? One what? I'm going to buy a used 2006 Camry when Pulse hits. Right on. Yeah, used cars are awesome. When I get Hex, will I become a Hex Asian? If I'm half Japanese, there's a stream called Hex Asians that is really popular and early in the morning. When Pulse has its first 50% drop, I will go all in. There you go. I'm ranked 1642. Yeah, 6,000 plus people saw you as part of the Coin Gang. Congrats. Every year was a better year of a $500 investment to 1.5 million. Ask staked 2019. That is outstanding. Congratulations to you. A lot of arguments with the wifey about this one, but I had to put the foot down. Later, fellas, have a good one. What's a good length of time to stake on average, 4 or 5 years? It's up to you. We designed T-Share app to do 5, 10, and 15 years. I would say start longer and work your way back and create a ladder. So you can start with a 15-year stake, then a 10-year stake, then a 5-year stake, and then keep some liquid. Now you have a 4-step ladder. Then if you really want to, you can go back in and you can fill in 15.2 years to have the maximum best behavior in the system. Then you can make a little bit of money coming out every year, 14, 13, 12, 11, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right? There you go. 1.2 T-shares. Very good, very good. Really wish I had heard of Hex a year ago. Get the word out to other people. 5.8 years on average. How can I buy PHEX? Isn't available yet. Join the Telegram group, t.me/PulseChain.com, and follow Richard Hart Win or richardhart.com. Follow him on Twitter and YouTube to get the news as it comes out. You can also go to t.me/HexNews, and then you'll get a message when big stuff happens. Awesome. Well, I am so happy that everybody came out tonight, and you've all had great questions. We've had a great chance to do our Hex Therapy session here. Go ahead and share this channel, recommend it to other people if you found it helpful. There's a playlist called What is Hex and Hex Cameo, and that's going to explain Hex 3 different ways to people in 10 minutes. It's really awesome. I'll continue to be making more content to try to spread the word and give you guys resources that you can share. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Should I buy Hex and stake now or hold a bag of Hex and get PHEX and then stake? Goal, get as many PHEX T-shares as possible. If you buy Hex now and stake it on Ethereum, you will get a copy of your T-shares on Pulse. So that's what a lot of people are doing. I recommend people to do a mixed strategy of having stakes and some liquid. You get better APY if you stake longer. Awesome. Yes, Dr. Moore is saying Hex Asian live stream 9 a.m. EST Sunday and Monday on Discord Syndicate Network. Very good. Now, thank you guys so much for coming out. I'm here on Tuesday nights for Hex Therapy Live, and also on Thursday nights for quantgang.com. And then I'm doing pop-up shows here and there. This Saturday, I've got a stream about the Hex convention conference. So check it out. And let me now send you guys over to Nights of the Crypto Roundtable. This is one of my favorite shows. So go ahead and check them out. Drop them some comments. Let them know that I sent you, that this is a raid, and we will. I'll be over there in their chat as well. And let's go support the other Hex streamers and learn from everything that the community has to offer. It's a huge pleasure to have you all tune in. And so I will see you guys next time. And until then, stake wisely, my friends. Peace out.